Cool. G'day everyone. My name's Wayne Forrest and I'm a life mastery consultant. And today we have the amazing Warren Brown, who I've just met, and he is incredible. And Warren is the chairman of STAROS here in Hawke's Bay. Warren, would you mind telling us a little bit about STAROS and how it came about?
Yeah, sure. STAROS came out of the fact that there was no support for people affected by suicide here in the Bay. Just to back up a little bit, my wife and I moved down from Tauranga in 2011, and I'd attended I'd attended groups up there that for people affected by suicide, and found them really beneficial just to be in the same room with someone talking about your feelings and emotions and just understanding that you weren't alone in that, and it was incredibly powerful. So when we moved down here, I went looking for one, and there just wasn't one here, and which is quite a common story throughout the country actually, which is tragic. Yeah, I met another mum who'd lost a son in 2009, and we got talking, and we decided that support group was necessary, so we decided to start our own, and so in March 2012 we kicked it off. So STAROS in its form then was just a support group. We just provide a space for people to come along. It's a safe space. It's non-judgmental. You can talk about whatever you like. There's no rules really. It's just be who you are, and yeah, just take from it what you want really. At the start of last year, we were given the opportunity to receive some funds by a couple we met who were running an event, and to do that we really, we had to become a trust. So we went through that procedure, which is quite a process really. It's a bit of red tape involved, but after about 3 months we did that, and at the start of last year there wasn't much to change the name. Previously we were called STAROS Affected by Suicide Support Group, and we just changed it to STAROS Affected by Suicide Support Trust. And while supporting people and families affected by suicide is still a major part of what we do, the trust just allows us to work around all other aspects of suicide as well, prevention, awareness, education, because we've all been affected by suicide. We've all lost someone to suicide, so we want to change that as well. Try and change.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's a great cause. So Warren, there's always, there's a backstory with most of these things. So yep. Do you mind just telling us what your backstory is and why this is so close to your heart?
Yes, of course. I love telling my story. I think it's important. And I've got 4 children, 2 in the North Island and 2 in the South Island. My eldest 2, their mum and I split up when they were quite young, so they moved down to South Island where she was from. So, and that was fine, but and that set forth what is quite common these days with the split families, and your contact is quite limited. It's South Island's a long way away. You've got all those costs and stuff involved as well, but we still kept in contact. Maybe not as many visits, but a lot of phone calls. So I was still there, but then in 2006 my wife, she was graduating from Canterbury College of Education as an early childhood teacher. And so we thought, oh, we'll go down there for the graduation. And part of that, we thought, well, why don't we touch base with the kids and we'll go and catch up with them as part of that as well. So we arranged that. And, you know, I hadn't seen my boys in the flesh for, 15 years, I suppose. It's a long time, eh?
It is a long time.
So we actually decided we'd meet outside the St. Paul's Church in Dunedin, just in case things didn't go well, and we could go on our way and they could go on their way. But as soon as we met, we hugged them, and that was awesome, and that was the start of the next phase of our lives as a father and a son. So that was pretty cool. After that, we got to meet them a lot more. We went down a lot more. In 2008, Stu and his partner became engaged, so we went down for that. Then later that year, they bought their first home. So it all seemed to be going really well for him. Stu was the eldest. At that stage, he was 25.
Yeah.
In April in 2009, he gave us a call and said, Dad, we're going to have a baby. And, I was over the moon, because as a father, you just know that the experiences coming his way were going to be, something that, you've got to experience yourself.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was April. And 6 weeks later, he took his own life. So he went from the happiest I've ever known him to the lowest point in his life. It just broke my heart, really. It just, life as it was stopped at that stage.
So what did you do in those first days? Because that would have been an incredibly shit moment. Sorry, the language, but no one would understand the real feelings of that unless they've gone through it. So what was it like to, what was that moment like, and then what was the moment after that when you started to find that you could do something about it?
Yeah, don't worry about the language, mate. The language is spot on. There's no other way to explain that, eh? Well, at the time, we'd actually been over to Cambridge to visit some friends, and we were driving back over the Kaimais. Right. And then we got a call, or my wife got a call as we're heading down the other side, heading back to Tauranga. And it was from his partner saying that if we were going to come down, we probably should come down now because things weren't great. So, and straight away, I had this lump in my stomach. I don't know why, but it was there. Yeah. It took us 20 minutes to get home. By the time I got home, it was the size of a golf. It started as a golf. It was the size of a rugby ball. And I just knew that he was gone. It's a funny feeling. I walked around in a daze. I tried to ring his brother to see what was going on, if he knew what was going on. He didn't know what was going on. So he went away, and he rang me back about half an hour later, and he knew what had happened, but he couldn't. They'd found him. But he couldn't say that he'd killed himself. He didn't want to tell me that. So he said that he had an accident, in his car. So that, yeah. But I knew that he was, what he'd done. It was just that feeling that was there. So straight away, I looked out for my support networks. I went round to my best friend's place and just talked to him, and then he came, and him and his partner came and picked us up and took us out for coffee and a chat. And I mean, everything's numb, Wayne. It's just you've got no idea of what's going on. It's just, you know, it's surreal. It's wrong. Everything of all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was some of the things that helped, you know, with the process of healing again?
Okay. Yeah, the healing bit, it took a while. I mean, and straight away, because he died and we were in Tauranga, I had to organise flights for us to go down.
Yeah.
We actually stopped in Wanaka, arranged to stop in Wanaka so we could take our breath a bit, and we borrowed a car from there and drove from there to Dunedin. And by the time I got there, it was just it was terrible, because there was, you know, as quite often in these cases, there was a lot of blame against her, and it was incredibly, you know, not helpful. So I made a point of making sure I'd go around and seeing everyone and telling them that none of that matters at the moment, because what matters is that we're here to put our boy away, you know, and that's all it matters. All this other stuff is rubbish. So yeah, I don't suppose at the time I was thinking about anything else except everyone else. I was trying to look out for everyone else, and I mean, I had the other two kids from up north come down with us as well, so I was keeping an eye on them and making sure they were okay. And Stu's brother down there, making sure he's okay. All his mates. I didn't really look out for me at all, and I suppose that come back and bit me on the ass later on. But yeah,
in what way? Warren?
Oh, I mean, we sort of went back to, you know, after the funeral, we flew back. I had another week off work. A mate of mine took me out mountain biking in Rotorua, just to, you know, get me away from stuff. It was. I went back to work. People look fantastic. They said, you know, you just come back when you want. But what I did do, the first thing I did, because I was in charge of a sort of a small team of people.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was got them in the room and said, look, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for the next week, 2 weeks, months, or whatever. I said, just bear with me, because all this stuff's new to me.
It sounded like you communicated really well with your friends, and so
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was really important, eh? For some reason, I just knew that you can't be alone in this stuff. You've got to have people around you, and you've got to be able to talk about it, because otherwise it just replays in your head, and that's no good.
Yeah, and so you know, some people would find that tough to talk about it, especially after such a terrible time. What would you tell those people that really find it difficult to communicate, or don't have really close friends that they can talk to or go out and do stuff with? What would you suggest?
I think at the very least you need to find something that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Do something for you. You got to look after you. I mean, ultimately, you are the most important person in the world. I mean, everything else around you and that doesn't matter. If you're not in a good space, the rest is just fairy dust, isn't it? So yeah, find something that's good for you, whether it's going for a walk, going throwing stones in the water, or doing art or music, writing, anything like that. Just find something for a brief part of the day that you're doing for yourself. I think it helps. Yeah,
that's awesome. So with obviously, you know, the journey carries on, and we've spoken about this, how you've managed and not everyone can do this, but you've managed to find some sort of silver lining in this, and we spoke about this, and you've turned that silver lining into even gold, in my view. There's an analogy, I think it's in Chinese, Japanese or Chinese, where they have broken plates and they use gold glue to stick the plates back, and they're always worth a lot more.
Yeah.
Because now they've got gold holding them together. Because we've spoken about this, so what's your gold glue that helped you put your life back together and then actually create stuff that is incredible? Well, it's incredible in my mind.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of it's a two-part thing for me anyway. I mean, initially it was just understanding what the emotions were about. I mean, because it's quite scary. You have all this stuff rush up on you all of a sudden. You could be good one day, then you wake up and you just, the world's just turned to shit for you. Yeah, and it's really quite scary because you think you're going nuts. So I think for me, I come to a stage and I thought, well, I actually know what this is about. Stu killed himself. That's where this stuff comes from. I know it's going to come up and hit me, so I've just got to ride with it. And so I come up with this little, this little tool. What I do is I park the garage, and when they come out.
Sorry, Stu. Sorry, Warren. Just say that again because my internet went a little bit, and people won't have got that, so it broke.
Okay. Yep, no worries. With the emotions that come up and hit you all the time out of nowhere, it can freak you out a bit, get scary. You think you're going mad.
Yeah.
So I come up with this thing where I actually park those emotions. If you like, I chuck them in the garage, and then the day that they decide they want to drive out, I know what it's about, and I'll ride with it because I know it won't last, and it goes away. So that's one way for me to to manage that. The second part of it, I think, was actually having an acceptance that he wasn't going to walk in the door. He'd actually died. That's really hard to do. It's difficult, because you just think you're in a bloody dream all the time. So when I got to that stage, I thought, right, okay. So I've got that. He's not going to walk in the door anymore. I accept that. So what I do from now is because of not only what he did, but what it's done to me. And I believe it's given me the courage, I suppose, to actually go outside of my set of boxes and everything that I was brought up to believe in and things like that. I mean, it's changed my perspective on a lot of things. It's opened my mind up to a lot of things. I don't worry about a lot of things like I used to. I mean, seriously, my son killed himself. What actually could be that bad, So yeah, it's allowed me to be really positive about life. I always look on the positive side of everything now. And I mean, I've had this conversation with people before about, the positive out of Stu dying, and they're thinking, well, how can you be positive about your son dying? But I mean, there is a positive because of what it's allowed me to do, what it's done to me, and what I can provide for other people. It's whatever's meant to be in this world, and I don't know, but and some of the stuff is pretty cool that comes along, eh? Yeah, you meet some really neat people.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a fellow like Pukera. He's not a bad dude.
You're so kind. So, you know, and look, life is about, we're here, we're stuck on on having this experience as human beings, and you know, when that person's passed over, I believe they don't have any pain. You know, they're quite happy where they are. So, what makes you have that gorgeousness about life now? What are the things that really juices you? You know, I know that there is some things that you do have that really make you feel alive now. So what are they?
I think the crux of it is just, you know, with supporting other people, and you just see that the impact that it has by just sitting with them, and I mean, you don't have to say anything to anyone, eh? You can just be in the room, be present, but the difference is that they know that you care. Being in a room with someone and they know that you care is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And it helps them. It helps them. I mean, we've seen people, and from the first time we've seen them to even 3 hours after we've been there, there's a change in them because they're allowed to talk. And I say allowed because they feel like they've been, you know, given permission to talk.
Yeah.
We've hardly said anything. It's pretty cool. I mean, and from meeting so many amazing people over the last 6.5 years, I mean, I'm just really lucky to be where I am.
Yeah. And like the people that you help, they're very lucky to have you. You know, and it's a real honour to be able to do this with you today. And thank you. You know, and so what is STAROS up to now, and what have they got coming up, and how can people contact you, and the charity, and those kind of things?
Yep, sure. The contact thing first. We're on Facebook. Just search for STAROS HB, and you'll find us. It's got all our details there. But we're also got a website, staros.org.nz. Just go on there, and our contact details are there as well. We're only in the infancy of this game. It's a big wide world out there with a charitable trust, so we're learning all the time. So we've got an events page on the website that says what's coming up. We say when our group meetings are, and anything else is coming up. The past year has been really busy. In May and June we ran some workshops and ran a couple of events just to get people along to who would benefit. We ran a screening of that movie Suicide: The Ripple Effect with Kevin Hines from the States, who tried to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived, and that was pretty cool. And just being able to provide a screening of that. We had Rob Mokaraka. He's a guy who does a one-man show around the country. He tried to take his own life, suicide by cop, in 2009 as well, I think. And obviously he survived, and he goes around telling about his experiences, and that's really quite empowering as well. I mean, at the end of his show, he has a cup of tea and a chat to people, and then he gives people an opportunity to stand up and talk about their their own struggles in life, and it's quite an empowering experience to be there and to have that sort of stuff. And I just love that stuff. Recently, we've been involved in a couple of fundraisers that people have asked us to be involved in because they want to raise money for us, which is great. And all of that really is aimed at an event we want to run next year in March, which is called Grassroots Awareness. And that's going to be a day, a Saturday. We have several speakers from different walks of life talking about their own struggles, how they've overcome them, how they manage them. And again, we just want to provide that for our community, to give back to our community, because we're just finding that the support we're getting is incredible. So we want to give that back as well.
Awesome. And so STAROS is only in New Zealand at the moment, in Hawke's Bay, or?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's only us here. Unfortunately, I have to work, so I've got a real job, pays the bills. But you never know. One day it's something I'd like to do full time for sure. I mean, the need is there. But what we do is we try to go to other places and promote ourselves as well. I mean, recently we went to there's a cycle for prostate up in Hampton Downs in the Waikato there, where you just cycled around the track for 4 hours. And so we arranged to get cycle shirts done. We took all our stuff up there. We had outside the pits, we set up all our STAROS stuff and just left a table of resources there. And it was amazing. People just walk along. You don't even have to talk to them, but they just come along, pick up and take it away with them. It's great. And here's us rolling around in our cycle shirts with STAROS emblazoned all over the place. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And it gets, encourages conversations about, what's that about? And then next weekend, or the end of November, we're going to do the same with the Round Taupo Cycle Challenge. So we'll be there in our gear and with our name and doing that sort of stuff. So yeah, it just gives an opportunity for us to do that. And if people talk to us and think, "Oh, well, that's pretty cool, we should have it in ours," well, we're more than happy to help people to start their own groups, start their own trusts, for the benefit of their own communities. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about the people. Isn't it?
Yeah, cool. All right, mate, is there anything else that you would love? Is there anything, any tidbits, or anything that you would like to say to anyone who listens to this?
Yeah, just realize that you're here. It's important you're here. You're here for a reason. And if you get to the stage where you think, well, life's just not what it should be, or I'm over this stuff, just talk to someone, man. It's a simple thing, I suppose. And as far as all the things going on about suicide prevention and whatever, I think we just got to go back to that simple stuff. I mean, talk to your neighbour, talk to the guy next in line or at work. You just never know who's struggling, and you never know the opportunity that you might give someone to share what's happening with them, and you're going to help someone. So yeah, help each other, look after each other, care for each other. Pretty easy, I think, but.
And I think also, Warren, there's another side of that, and I heard that we must learn to listen. Especially in our Kiwi culture with rugby and big farm boys and whatever else, we're hard men, harden up, and I think I heard Mr. King say that one, if someone we have to be aware that we have to listen.
Yeah.
Listen to our family members if they're trying to tell us something, or our friends, or whatever, and just listen. And I think you put it beautifully before, when you go and visit people, and it's because you listen. And so I think the other side of that is we must have our ears open and just allow people to speak.
Yeah, it's so very true, Wayne. I mean, we're born with two of the most important tools in the world. And sometimes we just don't use them, eh? You know, the ability to talk, the ability to listen. They're actual keys, real keys to life.
Oh, awesome, mate. So thank you very much. And guys, we'll post also the contacts for Warren under this post. And thank you, Warren.
Thank you very much, Wayne. It's been a pleasure.